Welcome in to a game I have played once before and I'm very excited to bring back. It is a little something I call TBR jar elimination. It is very similar to the TBR jar picks you read. We've all seen it, we all love it, the classic picking books from a TBR jar, picks your reads for the month. It's that with a twist because I've already picked my books for the month. These are the 9 books on my monthly TBR. But the TBR jar is making a reappearance because in this game we are going to use prompts to pick what we are reading this week. We're going to read 3 books this week, but instead of just picking a prompt and it says, I don't know, blue cover, and then you pick a book with a blue cover, that's over too quickly. I want to stretch out the fun because I don't know about you guys, I love watching people pull prompts. So this game is TBR jar elimination. So how this works is you pull a prompt. For example, the prompt might say a book in 3rd person. Anything that doesn't meet that prompt is eliminated and anything that does meet that prompt stays. And we will keep whittling it down, we will keep doing rounds until we are left with 1 book. And the final book is the book that we read. Times 3, because we're going to do it 3 times this week. It should be fun. Now, I will warn you, not every single prompt in here works for this game, so sometimes we have a few rounds of throwing prompts away because they didn't work. Bear with me. Sometimes they don't fit, but most of the time, well, the one time I've done this, I had a lot of fun. It's a fun game. I love using the TBR jar. I love the element of chance, and it means that we get through my monthly TBR. So I thought it could be fun. To quickly run you through what is on my monthly TBR, we have Out on a Limb, which is a romance, The Whispers, which is a thriller, Mad Honey, which is a literary mystery, The Drift, which is also a thriller, The Running Man, which is a dystopia, A Dawn of Onyx, which is a fantasy, I Love You But I've Chosen Darkness, a literary fiction, Open Water, also a literary fiction, and It Lasts Forever and Then It's Over, another literary fiction. I'm excited and I'm hoping the TBR jar is gonna pick well for us. So without further ado, we're gonna pick our very first prompt for round 1 of TBR jar elimination. Prompt number 1, let's go with this one, and this says, of course the very first one doesn't work, double up on the last prompt. That was an anticlimactic start. We're gonna pick again. Prompt number 1, let's go with this one here. Oh, we have 2. We'll do this one. This says, published after 2020. Okay, I'm hoping we're gonna have some options here. Let's see. This was published in 2024. So that is still in. Open Water, 2021, still in. 2021, still in. 2022, still in. We have our first victim. This was published in 2012. So The Running Man is gone. The Drift was published in 2023, she's still in. 2022, still in. 2023, she stays. And I think this one is in as well. 2024, we only had 1 victim of the first round. Okay, 8 books live to see round 2. Okay, prompt number 2, we will pick this one. This says a white cover. I might have to go with anything with white on the cover. So unfortunately, all blue book is gone. Gone. I would argue there's a tiny bit of white on that cover. I think she's gone. Definitely some white on the cover. The text is white, but we got rid of everything else that had white text, so I think sadly it has to go. There's bits of white, I would say, on this cover. And Out on the Limb definitely has some white on the cover. Okay, that was a brutal round. We have 4 books remaining and I'm picking prompt number 3. I'm gonna go for this one here, which says a soft DNF. I've not started any of them. Okay, I did say some of the prompts unfortunately don't work. We'll go for this one here. Hopefully this one works. A book in bad condition. They're literally all in perfect condition. Something in here must work. We're gonna go for this prompt here. This one says, a book on a previous TBR. I can't remember. Almost certain I Love You But I've Chosen Darkness and The Whispers have both never been on a TBR. I am only going off memory, so I'm sorry if that's incorrect, but I don't think either of these have ever been on TBRs. So I am gonna get rid of these. These 2, Out on a Limb 100% has been, and I'm pretty sure The Drift has been. So that means we're down to 2 books. Okay, so we're either gonna be reading a romance or a thriller. So 2 very different vibes. And this is gonna be our final prompt pick of the video. So let's find out what we're reading. I'm gonna go with this tiny prompt here, and it says blindfold pick. How do I even do that when there are 2 left? I think I'm just gonna have to shut my eyes and just like randomly pick them. This doesn't seem like the most logical way to do this, but I can't think how else I would do this. On the bright side, they're both quite similar, so I can't actually tell which one's which. Out on a limb. Out on a limb. Okay, this is going to be our first book pick of the video, a contemporary romance. Fun. This is book number 1 and we're going to read it right now. I, this morning, started Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonam-Young, and I am on page 140, so probably about a third in. I have very much been in the depths of a romance slump. Well, I was going to say recently, honestly, for like a year now, maybe a little bit less, maybe since like last summer. I've just been, I don't know, not gravitating towards a genre. Maybe I feel like when I started watching BookTube, BookTok, all the racks I saw were romance racks, so I kind of went out and bought all of those racks because those were the books that I kept seeing get promoted, and now I have so many romance books that it's not even funny. And I'm currently very much on a like romance buying ban. I mean, I'm kind of on a book buying ban just generally, but like I'm not buying any more romance for the time being because I have such a backlog and I'm just not really reaching for them. But all of that preface to say, this is quickly becoming my favourite romance book that I've read in a long time. So that is exciting. As I say, I'm only about a third in so far, but I'm just loving the writing style. It's the second book I've read by her. I read Next of Kin actually not that long ago, maybe a couple of months ago, and I really liked the banter and the like writing style in that one. And again, Hannah Bonam-Young is just a funny woman. Like, she writes really good, like genuine banter that is like actually making me laugh, which is really cool. I also like how in depth we are getting to see Wynn's pregnancy and all of the stuff that comes along with that. I like that that is such a big focus of the story, and I think the main 2 characters have a genuine connection, even if he is blonde. Writing's just really great. Like, all the decisions that they're making genuinely make sense, which is nice. Everything, like all the decisions in this book feel genuine and like decisions people in this situation would actually make. Because sometimes I feel like you end up really having to like suspend your disbelief to make characters' decisions feel like something a genuine person would do. But in this book it doesn't. I don't know, I'm really liking it. I'm loving the writing style. The characters are just so sweet. I'm just really liking it. I'm also flying through it. Like, this reads so quickly. I am on page 196. So I spoke to you literally not even like 50 pages ago. I don't normally do updates quite this quickly. I'm, I guess, halfway, maybe just under, like 48% in. But I just wanted to say, we kind of like a little bit ago got introduced to this like ex-girlfriend character of Beau. And I just appreciate, and I don't fully know everything yet that's like happened in the past, but I do just want to say that I appreciate that she isn't this evil caricature, because I feel like that is something that really kind of annoys me in romance books, when, unless there's like a very genuine reason and it like adds something to the plot, when the ex is just like the most evil character ever and they don't have one singular redeeming quality and they're just awful. And like, sometimes it's there for a reason, which is fine, but sometimes it's just like, look how awful this character was and now you found something better. This ex has definitely made like mistakes. Like, they're definitely not like a perfect character. They're very flawed. They have done some really questionable things, but I appreciate that they're not made out to be this like complete villain caricature, if that makes sense. I don't know if that'll frustrate anyone else, but it does frustrate me. I just really appreciate when characters have a bit of nuance, in the same way when I appreciate that a main character in a romance book also isn't perfect. Like, it's nice for them to have flaws, or like just something that isn't, they are absolutely perfect and then somebody else is absolutely evil. I don't really know what my point is. I just wanted to say that. I have zero other thoughts for you because, as I say, I spoke to you literally like 50 pages ago. But I'm still flying through this. I keep looking down at like the number of what page I'm on and being amazed. Like, I'm surprised how quickly I'm reading this. It's just bingeable. And I think the second one in this series has just come out, right? Out of the Woods. And it's following, well, I don't want to say in case it's a spoiler. I don't think it is. but a couple in here, which is really interesting. So I'm kind of intrigued. If anyone has read Out of the Woods yet, whatever it's called, Out on the Woods, whatever it's called, if anyone's read it yet, let me know what you think. Let me know if I should pick it up. Even though I literally just said in the last clip that I'm on a romance book buying ban. I am going book shopping this weekend though. Should I film it? Should I film a book shopping video this weekend? Should I do it? Everyone let me know if you want to see that, and I, in the meantime, am gonna continue, maybe finish this, who knows? Imagine if I finish this today. I have to go to work in 4 hours. I might not finish this today. I might do. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. I'm still reading Out on a Limb, but I wanted to pause briefly because I have been waiting for this parcel for quite a few weeks, so I thought we would unbox it together. This isn't sponsored, but they did send it to me for free, and I'm so grateful you don't even understand. Like, so excited. Saying all this, I really hope this is what I think it is. There's a chance it isn't. Teddy Blake reached out to me a few weeks ago and asked me if I wanted a bag, and I looked at their website and I was like, oh my gosh, these bags are literally the most gorgeous bags I've ever seen. So I thought I'd show you guys what I ended up picking. It's even got its own bag. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Not with this outfit, but envision, not with this outfit, with something nicer. Absolutely stunning. This is probably one of the nicest things I have ever owned. Are you kidding me? Thank you so much, Teddy Blake, for sending this to me. Also, is this not the most perfect, like you could wear this with literally anything? If you want this specific bag, it says it's called Grace Black Gold. I will link it down below, but I think this is actually going to become my new day-to-day bag because this is the nicest thing I've ever owned. So thank you, Teddy Blake. You are wonderful. As I say, I will link their website down below. I'll link this one specifically, but if you guys just want to browse, they have so many different options and they are all beyond stunning. I feel like I need to put this back in its little bag to protect it. Okay, I don't think I was doing it justice before, but I'm going out and I have my bag with me. You have a longer strap or shorter one. I think I prefer the shorter one. And best believe inside the bag we have Out on a Limb. So it's the perfect size to carry my book, which, let's be real, is the only thing I really ever need a bag for. So not the same day, very much 2 days later, some stuff came up, we've been busy, but guess what? I finished book number 1, Out on a Limb. I literally ended up having the best time with this book. As I kind of said in, was it my first update? I have very much been in a romance slump, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I am kind of still in it. I think I'm very much a romance dabbler. I like them occasionally. I definitely can't read them back to back, but that being said, there's really no genre that I like to read back to back, even, dare I say it, literary fiction. It's the genre I'm most likely to read back to back because it's so broad, but generally speaking, I like a literary fiction, then a thriller, then a romance, and a fantasy. Like, I really like to mix it up. And it has been a little while, I guess, since we read a romance. I think it's one of the best romance books I've read in a long time. And I think largely it is definitely the banter. Like, this woman is funny. Also, both this book and, where is it, Next of Kin, both of these books have such heavy plots as well as the romance, which I feel like I really appreciate. This one, definitely the characters fall in love very, very quickly. This had that a tiny bit, but not really so much. But I honestly think just because of the way that she writes, her writing style, I fall in love with the characters. And I said it before, and I'll say it again, I really appreciate that we didn't make the ex this like villain caricature. I already went into all that, so I won't say it again, but I just appreciated that that character could be flawed without being a complete villain. In the same way that I appreciate that our main characters can be flawed as well as lovable. Not everyone has to be like complete extremes. Don't get me wrong, the characters in here are pretty perfect. Like, they are super lovable, so sweet. The chemistry is so good between our main two. I don't know, I really, really liked this. It was just a fun, wholesome time. I'm definitely still in a bit of a romance slump, but I think Bonam-Young is an author who I'm going to watch out for her releases. As a first book, well, between you and me, I didn't actually read this book first for this video, but it's the first one you're seeing, and for our first book together, I really liked this. 2 out of 2 that I've read by her I've really enjoyed. I just think she has a great writing style. So we can pop this one back. and we will crack on with, well, you haven't seen it yet, you don't know what we're reading. Go find out what we're reading and then we'll crack on with that. Okay, we are back to pick our second book of the video. That means we have 8 choices remaining, and we are once again playing TBR jar elimination. Are you having fun? I'm having fun. Okay, our first prompt of round 2 is going to be, let's go for this one, and this says, a debut novel. Love that. Okay, unfortunately, because I loved her debut, I know for a fact that this isn't. Love you, Ashley Audrain, your debut was great, but it wasn't this. I love you, but I've chosen Darkness. Does not appear to be a debut, so unfortunately is gone. Mad Honey, oh, this is not a debut. I mean, it's 2 authors, but one of them's written 25 books and one of them has written 18. Definitely not a debut, unfortunately. Okay, this one doesn't say, let me Google it. I actually do think this is a debut by the looks of it. This one, I am almost certain is a debut. Yep, first novel, Open Water. I think this author has a short story, but I think this is a debut, as far as I can tell. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, it'll be too late by the time you see this video, but I do think that is a debut. Why am I even checking? This is not a debut. And The Drift, I'm almost certain isn't. Now, The Chalkman was CJ Tudor's debut, which I have also read. But that doesn't mean The Drift is also gone. And we're down to 3. We have 2 tiny literary fictions and a fantasy. Okay, my camera's about to die, so that's delightful, but we are going to pick our next prompt. Let's go for this one here. And this says, negative words in the title. A Dawn of Onyx and Open Water, I'm not really sure. It lasts forever and then it's over? I guess over maybe. I think that's a bit of a stretch. I think we might just pick again. I'm not sure any of those really class as negative words. Okay, let's pick again. I'm going to go for this prompt here, and this one says, a book you've already started. Brilliant, none of them. Of course, when my camera is about to die, my TBR jar starts playing with me. Let's go for this prompt here. It's a big one, an audiobook. Come on TBR jar, pick me something good. Oh, I have 2 prompts here. We'll try this one if this one doesn't work. Literary fiction. Well, it whittles us down to 2. Okay, shall I just go with the other prompt that I had? What does this one say? A person on the cover! And we're decided. I think that is a very clear winner. We have Open Water by Caleb Azumah Nelson, a tiny, tiny literary fiction. And that is going to be our second read of the video. So let's crack on. Ha, look at this new angle unlocked. If you're wondering why I'm in here, I am about to do a 3-hour Zoom audition. Everyone wish me luck. I'm feeling a little bit nervous, but I auditioned in here because I painted this wall grey for that purpose. Because you generally speaking, when you audition or you film self-tapes, which are like a different type of audition, you have to do it in front of a blank wall. And I don't know if you guys have noticed my room, it is kind of the opposite of blank. It is very busy. So I painted this wall a couple years ago. All of that to say, I'm about to step into a Zoom audition. Well, I say about to. I have like 30 minutes. I'm always ridiculously early for these things because I'm stressed that I will like not leave myself enough time. So I've set everything up, I'm ready to go, and now I'm restless and don't know what to do. So I thought while I was here, I would do the first update of Open Water because I started this yesterday on the train. I only made it to page 44, which to be fair, given how tiny this book is actually probably about a third in, maybe even 40%, because this book is so tiny. It is 144 pages. She's a little book. So I thought we would do the first check-in. But as I say, I only made it to page 44 because I was on a train yesterday and there were a couple very openly having a yelling match, like screaming at each other. So I know the entirety of this couple's history and the ins and outs of their relationship. And I must say, I agree with the woman. But I did sit there silently on the train attempting to read. It was genuinely really hard to focus. It was incredibly awkward. Everybody else was silent. These two were screaming at each other. It wasn't the best, like, relaxing reading vibe, so I only made it 44 pages in, but I just thought I would briefly check in. The writing style, it's written in second person. Have I ever read a book in second person? I don't think so. So it's like, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm sure you do, but just in case you don't, it's like, you did this, you went here. So it's a really odd writing style because it's almost detached, but then the story is incredibly intimate. So it's like a weird juxtaposition between a very intimate and like lyrical writing style, but then this detachedness of the style of writing in the second person. So that took me quite a minute to get my head around. Honestly, have I fully got my head around it yet? Not sure, but we're basically following this couple. I feel like it was sold to me as a situationship, but I feel like honestly they're just completely in love with each other. But there is like a messiness to how they like start, like how they get to know each other. She's in a relationship already, like there is that kind of messiness, but honestly the core of the story to me doesn't feel like a situationship. It feels like a love story, if that makes sense. But it was very much pitched to me as a situationship, and I don't know if that's going to come, but that isn't really the feel that I've got so far. But the writing style itself is absolutely gorgeous. It is incredibly lyrical. Every single line is poetic. Like that is very much the writing style, but it is absolutely gorgeous. You can see how much work went into crafting the sentences, and the relationship between the two of them feels very tender. They're both also like creative people, so I'm really liking that aspect as well. I always love reading about creatives. But yeah, I think that's kind of all I have to say so far, because as I say, I am only 44 pages in, but honestly, most likely, I mean, I'm not going to finish it today because, as I say, 3-hour audition. But probably, honestly, I'm going to finish this in the next couple of days because it is just tiny. And the chapters are also relatively short. Anyway, I think that's all for now. And I'm going to go do my audition. Everyone wish me luck. So I have finished Open Water. Sorry. I feel like I literally haven't spoken to you. So apologies for that. Despite the fact that this book is under 150 pages, this somehow took me a really long time to read. Like I've been reading this probably for about a week. Even though my reading speed is, roughly speaking, 50 pages an hour, so this book should have taken me 3 hours. I don't know, it just doesn't feel like a particularly bingeable book. It's very much a book where you have to focus. I found the writing style very, not difficult to understand, but like it used my attention and I had to like think about what I was reading, which is a good thing. It is a good thing, but sometimes this brain takes a minute to do that. But this writing was absolutely gorgeous, like objectively good writing. I can see why this has won so many awards, like it deserves them. It's absolutely stunning. I wonder if there are any good quotes that I tagged that I can read you. It's summer now. You're working in Niketown on Oxford Circus, supplementing your money from photography. It started as a temporary gig the year before last, meant as a stopgap after graduation. Now it is a permanent fixture, and you're clocking in to clock out. You're clocking in and dreaming your days away. You're not entirely unhappy here. But herein lies the issue. This job is far too comfortable, and for the most part, considering you and your colleagues are cogs in a giant machine, you're all treated quite well. I really like that bit. This is, I just think, like a good metaphor for life. You look like you got hit by a bus and you dusted yourself off and you did it again for the hell of it. You look like you're wondering when the next time you can get hit by that bus is. What a strange analogy. Am I lying? No, he is not. You are back again in a memory of something yet to happen. You want to sigh with hunger sated. You want to hold her in the hot darkness. You want your body to say what cannot otherwise be said. I just think this writing is absolutely stunning. You're on your knees and the music has stopped and you're wailing like a newborn. Your mother calls. You decline the call. She would need you intact and you are not so. You need to face this alone, you think. Something has come undone. Your cup has runneth over and now it's empty. The flow has ceased, but you're still loose and limber and soft. You want to push and pull and mount yourself back together so you rise from the cool kitchen tile. You lost your grandmother during the summer you were sure you could lose no more. You knew before you knew. It wasn't thunder's distant rumbling like a hungry stomach. It wasn't the sky so grey you were worried the light would not shine again. It wasn't the strain in your mother's voice asking you not to leave home before she got there. You just knew. I won't read you anymore because I could literally just sit here and read you quotes from this book, but it is absolutely beautiful. Even reading those quotes out loud, I can really appreciate how much craft and like literary excellence has gone into this book. And I mean, it's tiny, but it packs such a punch. I do think the writing style and it being in second person took me quite a moment to get used to. As I say, never read a book in second person before. I'm really interested as to why the author did that. I feel like I need to look up a interview to see, because that's such a specific choice, but I'm sure there is a specific reason for it. This is also a debut, did I mention that? Like, what a debut. I know Caleb Azumah Nelson has another book, I want to say called Small Spaces. So I would be really interested to pick that up because yeah, this writing, absolutely stunning. And the conversations in this are so important. Equally, love that both of the characters are creative. So we've got photography and dancing. It's just a really beautiful but excellently told story. And can I just say, another win for the Costa Awards. I don't know what it is. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Whoever is picking the Costa Book Awards is doing a good job because I found some excellent books through the Costa Book Awards. And like, who would have thought? Who would have thought Costa knows how to pick a good book? But they do, because I found Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine through like this book award. Well, I didn't find it through the book award, but it had that sticker on the front. And it's just like, since reading that, every time I spot a book with this sticker, I'm like, that's probably going to be a good book, because I don't know who's picking them, but they're doing a good job. Anyway, that's such an aside, but this is our second book of the video done, and I will pass you back over to Past Flow and you can find out our third and final read for the video. So go watch that. Okie doke, we are back to pick our third and final book for the video. My camera is dying. I did charge the battery for all of 5 minutes, honestly, if that. I'm very impatient. We have 7 books remaining and we are going to pick our final book of the week. So let's go for this prompt here. This one says, highest rated on Goodreads. Okay, because I don't want this to just be an immediate pick, what I might do is maybe get rid of the bottom 3. Should we do that? Let me do a whole bunch of maths. Okay, I've done some research and I've done a little rejig, and this is the order. We have Mad Honey with a 4.08, that is the top, the highest rated. Dawn of Onyx with 3.92, The Running Man with a 3.9, The Whispers with a 3.82, It Lasts Forever and Then It's Over with a 3.71, The Drift with a 3.7, and I Love You But I've Chosen Darkness with a 3.14. So I said I was going to get rid of the bottom 3. I'm not surprised that there are 2 literary fictions in the bottom. Unfortunately, litfic does often tend to be lower, so sadly these 2 litfic and the thriller are gone. I'm a bit sad about that. I would have happily read any of those, but that means we are left with the 4 highest rated and we are going again. Our next prompt is, let's go for this one, and this says, a wheel chooses. Okay, I've made a wheel with all 4 titles. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let the wheel remove an option rather than pick one, if that makes sense, because it is TBR jar elimination. So whatever the wheel lands on, we're not reading that. That's being removed. I feel like I over-explained that. You knew what I meant. Okay, let's let the wheel do its thing. And the wheel has removed A Dawn of Onyx. I'm secretly okay with that. I was a little bit scared to read this fantasy book. I don't know why, I just wasn't overly in a fantasy mood. So, A Dawn of Onyx is gone. And we have 3 options left. We have the literary mystery, the dystopia, or the thriller. These are our final 3 books, and this is hopefully going to be the final prompt. So I'm going to go for this prompt here, and this one says, oh, it's wheel chooses again. How has that happened? I must have had 2 of that prompt in there. Okay, well I guess we're just going to get the wheel back up. I guess once again I'm just going to let the wheel remove another option. So we'll just spin it again. What's gone? The Running Man. The shortest one on there, The Running Man, is gone, and we're left with 2. 2 relatively big books, but I'm relatively excited for both of them. I've heard great things about Mad Honey, and I love Ashley Audrain's debut, so wouldn't mind either book, and let's find out which one we will be reading. Hopefully this prompt is gonna decide. This says, book with over 1 million Goodreads ratings. Now, I'm not sure either of these will, but I will have a quick look. Mad Honey has 500,000, but no. The Whispers, 82,000, no. I could just go with the highest one, but I want to stay true to the TBR jar, so hopefully this prompt will pick for us. And this says, a book in 3rd person. Let's see if either or both of these are. Yep, 3rd person. This one. She's gone. She's gone. This is 1st person. which means our final read of the week is The Whispers by Ashley Audrain. This has a high bar to live up to after The Push, because that is literally one of my favourite books of all time. But okay, our third and final read of the video is going to be The Whispers, so let's get into it. I have started The Whispers and I'm actually on page 152. I feel like it's taken me a while to get here, despite the fact that the font is humongous and the chapters are short. Anyway, I thought we'd do our first little check-in. This is actually so much more similar to her debut than I was expecting, because the blurb gives you so little. Like, you know, it's about 4 families, and that's honestly kind of it. But actually, what we are following, again, similar to her debut, is very much the theme of motherhood, which is in some ways really great, because I absolutely adored that about her first book. So we're following 4 different families, and every single woman in each of the families basically has a different relationship to motherhood. So we have a couple who really want kids but are struggling to conceive. We have like the perfect family, but the mother is really struggling to connect to the children. We have a much older woman, I think she's in her 80s. She's a bit mysterious, I don't know a lot about her, but it sounds like she possibly has a kid, not too sure on that one. And then the last woman, called Blair, is kind of obsessed with another woman, and we've got a little bit of the woman obsessed trope, which you know I love. It is, I think, technically meant to be a thriller, but this one is actually reading even more literary than The Push did. The Push was very much a thriller with like literary themes and like following the idea and the theme of motherhood. This one, so far anyway, is very reflective and very like discussing the topic of motherhood and parenting in all these different aspects. And then we do have a kind of thriller subplot. So we have a kid who's fallen out of a window. That is kind of like the mystery, and we're trying to figure out what happened there. But so far it's actually quite slow and reflective, and that is only like a really tiny part of the story. I will say it took me so long to figure out who everyone was, despite the fact that we're only really following 4 POVs. It jumps around in timeline a lot, and I have to keep trying to like figure out where in the timeline we are, because it does say like this is Wednesday, this is September, this is whatever, but it always takes me about a page and a half to actually figure out where we are. And I don't know if that's a me thing and I'm just a bit tired, which is definitely a possibility, or if it is just a little bit confusing and it takes a minute to get into it. But I figured out who everyone is now, and like the characters are very distinct and we're following 4 very distinct storylines, which is interesting. Basically, all of that to say, I am intrigued. I really like Ashley Audrain's writing. I guess I'm surprised that it's another book about motherhood, but maybe that's her thing. Maybe that's what her novels are going to be about. But I loved it in The Push. I really, really did. So I'm very intrigued as to see where this is going to go. Excuse the no makeup and the workout clothes. I had an audition today for a 16-year-old. So no makeup, was trying to look a little bit younger. And the workout clothes, I did a workout. Not to flex, but I did actually do some exercise for once in my life. I am reading The Whispers, and I am on page 267 of, I think it was literally just over 400, like 402, something along those lines. So I did the maths, I am exactly 2/3 in. So I thought it'd be a good place to chat. This book is so sad. Very much do check your trigger warnings. There are many triggers in this, but very specifically, miscarriage is spoken about a lot, so just something to maybe be aware of. There are other triggers though, so I would also check those out if you want to read this book. But I am really getting into the writing style. Her characters feel so fully fleshed, and every single woman that we're following in this book feels so distinct from one another. I will say this entire book is miserable. Like, there is not one single bit of joy in this book. Not really. Which, to be fair, is kind of my jam. That really is the books that I read. Just no joy, but just something maybe to be aware of. We are still very much on like a reflective feel, so it's a much maybe slower paced book than The Push, her debut, because her debut, while it was about motherhood, it was still very much like a thriller story, and we do still have this like core plot of this child who has fallen from a window and whether or not that was accidental. So we very much have that as like the thriller subplot, I guess. Or like technically it's not the subplot, technically it's the main plot, but it feels like a subplot as in how much it's discussed in the book, because so much of the discussions in this book are to do with motherhood and like different experiences of that. But I'm intrigued to see how it's going to end. I really don't know like what the ending is going to be. I am intrigued and I am hooked, but mostly I'm just really enjoying the writing. I've realised that this is very much a genre of story that I enjoy about motherhood. I don't really know why, but obviously I just read The Nursery, which was one of my favourite books of all time. I read that in March, I want to say, and I literally fell in love with that story. And then I have another book on my monthly TBR called I Love You But I've Chosen Darkness, which is, I think, similar themes about motherhood and postnatal depression, which was similar to The Nursery. So I'm kind of excited to read another book with that theme, because that seems to just be something that I enjoy reading about. I don't know why. So if anyone has any good recs in that kind of realm of like dark portrayals of motherhood, or like quite just like realistic portrayals of motherhood or postnatal depression, anything like that, if anyone has any good racks, please let me know, because the ones that I've been reading, like The Push, The Nursery, those kind of books, I've just been absolutely adoring. I don't know, that's a really niche thing to ask racks for, but if anyone has any, please hit me up. I don't think I have too much else to say other than I am kind of now flying through this book and I've got a bit over 100 pages left, so I'm hoping to finish this probably in the next day or two. Probably two. Guess what? I finished The Whispers by Ashley Audrain. Is this the third book in this video? It's actually the first one that I've read, but you will have seen it third, I think. I do think The Push is probably still my favourite, but I will say I really, really enjoyed this one. I will absolutely be picking up anything else that Ashley Audrain has written. This is her second book, and as I have said multiple times in this video, I loved her debut, and I just think again in this one she demonstrates how well she can write characters, and she writes such flawed characters and then makes you care about them. All of the different like experiences and conversations of motherhood were gorgeous, and I also just flew through it. Like, the chapters are tiny. Also, shout out to whoever at Penguin like made this book, because it is so lovely and floppy, and I swear Penguin UK covers are never normally like that. Like, most of the Penguin books I own are not floppy, so why is this one floppy? I don't know, but whoever made that decision, thank you very much. Very much appreciated. It just makes for such a delightful reading experience. Anyway, what was my point? I think this one is actually way less of a thriller than The Push. I always suggest The Push as like a getting into literary fiction if you like thriller kind of a book, because it very much is a thriller and it reads with thriller pace, but it has like literary conversations about motherhood, but like a very heavy thriller plot. This one kind of felt like the opposite. It felt like there was a little bit of thriller and there were elements kind of that and like a subplot of that, but it was primarily literary fiction and it was more reflective and character driven, which I really wasn't expecting. And I will say, like, this blurb gives you so little. It tells you it's about like this street and these families and neighbours on this street and events of the last 24 hours. It says there's talks of secrets, lies, betrayals. It gives you almost nothing, which to be fair made me intrigued, but I feel like the cover and the title, it kind of just lends itself to quite a classic mystery thriller plot. And yes, it definitely has that. But I will say, if you like a character driven story or anything just a little bit more reflective and literary, she's very good at towing that line. I love Ashley Audrain's writing. I literally cannot wait to pick up more from her. She's also one of the authors who, back in the day, this was so long ago now, but back in the day when I did my authors pick my reads, for some reason the authors who replied to me were all thriller authors, which does seem to be a thing. Like, thriller authors always speak so highly of each other and of like the community of thriller writers and of how supportive they all are. And Ashley Audrain was one of the writers who replied to me for that video, and she was very lovely when I spoke to her, only briefly, but she was so nice. Also, if you have not watched that video, I mean, it's an old one, but please go watch it because A, I love it. I really like that video. I think I also read like literally the best books ever. Like, the authors I spoke to picked the best books. So if you haven't already, if you're like a relatively new subscriber, please go watch that. I probably have different hair and like different room decor, and like it was a while ago, but probably worse edited. Anyway, go watch that, I guess, is my point. But that is the third and final book of this week done. Friends, that is us done for our week's reading. Can I just say props to the TBR jar, because I feel like it picked us a really lovely range of books this week. We had Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonam-Young, such a gorgeous romance. One of the best romances I've read in literally so long. Open Water by Caleb Azumah Nelson, a gorgeous little literary fiction with a little bit of like, if not romance, like a love story, beautifully told, excellently crafted. And then we had a thriller, although I will say, and I kind of went into this in the review, I don't think The Whispers by Ashley Audrain is as much of a thriller as maybe the cover and the title suggest. I think it's way more literary fiction, contemporary fiction with kind of like a thriller subplot. But you know me, that works for me. And just solidifying for me that Ashley Audrain will always be an auto-buy author. Cannot wait to see what she does next. And of course, another 3 books off of the physical TBR, so we can pop these back on the bookshelf. And thank you so much for watching. If you're new, please subscribe. I would love to have you. Like the video, comment, all that fun stuff, and I will catch you in the next one. I love you, goodbye!